Okay. Today I want to talk about something that's related to what's been happening in the last couple days. And it's happened many times. You'll look at someone, you listen to what they say, compare it to scriptures, know it's not the truth, you educate them, you lie, you teach them about the truth by using scriptures, you mark them out and you expose them. Now, what I keep getting, especially when it comes to Mormons, is on my video, there's a person now, a female, saying, well, you know, I've never once railed against the Mormonism, and I was a Mormon. It was constant, steady love and contemplating and praying that I came out of the Mormon church. Now, what I've noticed is I don't really know what she's gone into. Once she left this fire, did she just jump into another fire? Is she in the pot boiling and cooking? So I asked her, so what are you now? Because in a way, in an own passive way, she's still trying to defend Mormonism. Now, and she's making this claim that I'm railing against them. Well, if giving them the truth of scriptures, if telling them they're a cult is railing against them, well then I guess I'm guilty. Now, Jesus railed against people. Paul railed against people. The Bible rails against people. If you're a follower of Jesus, why don't you for once in your life start following him? He took rope and whipped the moneylenders out of the temple for daring to bring that into his father's house. Did he just say, oh, peacefully, I need you guys to leave? He took rope and whipped them out. Every single time Jesus had a confrontation with the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the scribes, what did he do? He railed against them. You are of your father, the devil. You bring your laws. He had his finger on their chest, thumping them the whole time, railing against them. Paul marked out and exposed the coppersmith. Galatians chapter 1 verses 8 and 9 says, if you bring another gospel, you are accursed, which means condemned. Now how do you get uncondemned? With the Bible. You don't just ponder on things and pray about things. You have the Holy Writ in your hands. Read it verse by verse, book by book, chapter by chapter. Read it, study it contextually. Doing so is actually worship and praise of God, because you believe that this is his word and you study it. If I see a wolf wearing sheep's clothing approach the flock, am I supposed to just say silent? Not yell out a warning? What I do is hey, flock, wolf, sheep's clothing, 6 o'clock. Gather yourself in a circle, get ready to fight or run. And one of the sheep pokes his head up and says, shut up. How dare you judge that guy? It's the point of absurdity again. These people that claim to be Christian, they don't even contextually read or study the scriptures. How are we supposed to deal with this? Well, like I said, I asked her, so okay, now what did you leave? You jumped from this fire, what did you jump into? You supposedly left Mormonism. You're telling me that I'm supposed to kindly water the seeds, and that's not what I'm doing. I give the gospel to non-believers all the time. That's where I plant the seed, and maybe I water it, or someone will come along behind them and water it, and the gospel process is started. That's not what I'm doing. I'm taking on people that are knowingly taking the scriptures, saying that their Book of Mormon is the most correct book on the face of the earth, more correct than the Bible, and claiming, okay, cat, don't you jump up there, and claiming that they're the truth when they are the satanic lie. I have no shame in calling someone a Satan worshiper. I have no shame in telling them they're a cult. Maybe you do. Maybe you're non-confrontational. But I tell you now, the resurrection rapture is getting ready to happen. We are out of time. You need to expose the cults. You need to give the gospel. Contend for the faith. And notice, contend for the faith. That means opposing someone who's against the faith, like a Mormon, like a Catholic, like a Seventh-day Adventist, like a Jehovah's Witness, like the Emergent Church. You have to be in there. It's called warfare, spiritual warfare. You have to be girded up with the weapon in your hand. And it's made to be used offensively, the Bible. You have to tell the sinner that they're sinners in order for them to know that there's something to be saved from. You can do that with love, especially if the person is is an atheist or something like that, doesn't really belong to any religious groups. But if a person's in a cult, you tell them, excuse me, you're in a cult, you contradict the scriptures, here's where you did it. Now, April or June, I just put all of Ezekiel 37, 16 through 22, and I put it on her comment section on her video, showing her how asinine, how she can say that is Joseph Smith being joined with the scriptures, the two sticks. When it's actually Ezekiel 37 talking about the rebirth of Israel in 1948, which is the start gun for the end times. Those that see that, those of that generation, are the same generation who see the second advent of Jesus. Okay, they're 70 now. Will it be tomorrow or next day or 3 years? We don't know. Could it go all the way out to 80 years? I doubt it, because the imperative on the warning of that verse is sooner rather than later. You're not going to see the last person in this world that saw that Israel become a nation die and fall away. It's going to be before that. So we know we're at the door. We know by prophetic signs that we see worldwide. Like I deal with all these people now that are telling me, that are claiming to be Christians, yes, we need to take up arms. We need to be ready to fight these and kill these bloody bastards when they do this. And I'm telling you, no, it's not. It is not up to the Christian to take up a weapon. The weapons of warfare on this earth are knives, guns, bombs, and tanks. The weapons of warfare is the Bible, it's the Spirit. And our Bible is our offensive weapon. Our armor, Ephesians 6. Read it, understand it. We know, and that was the whole point that started me with April or June when I found out she was a Mormon, was because she absolutely, through her Mormon teachings, her scrying using the Mormon writings of the scriptures, is so theologically whacking and crazy that no one in that area is going to be prepared for, okay, this is the resurrection rapture. This is the imminent happening of this chaos that's going to bring the Antichrist. Okay, so we know we got to be out here very soon, so you don't worry about shooting people that are theologically opposed to you or politically opposed to you. You get the gospel out. You contend for the faith, even if it means your death. Now, if someone attacks me in my home, I'm going to defend myself. If someone attacks me on the street, I'm going to defend myself. But I'm not going to form a cohesive groups to go attack other cohesive groups. God has prophesied Daniel 9, verse 27. It must happen. If you are opposing this and you are fighting, getting involved with the fighting, you are in direct opposition of God. It means you're not a Christian. Daniel's 70th week must happen. This is for the 7-year tribulation is for the salvation of the Jewish nation. It has to happen. When it's all said and done, they'll be pushed into a corner. They'll recognize Jesus as their Messiah who will come down this earth and smash his enemies. Now, you do realize, this person that I've been writing to, that Jesus is going to be casting alive people into hell and the lake of fire. Right? You do realize that. You do realize that this loving Jesus during the 7-year tribulation is going to be directly responsible for the deaths of 5 billion people. You do realize that, right? Yes, he is a loving God. He is also the God of war. You've got to realize he will move when it's his time to smash people and kill them. At his leisure, at his timing, not ours. You do not take up arms against political forces and wipe them out. Now, say the founding of America, you say, okay, now what about that? Well, I would say that dispensationally speaking, we are not in the time frame we are right now. That was for the founding of a nation, for the raising of a nation that would one day support Israel and bring that country to fruition. Make them a strong country. Support them through times of trouble. Now, Donald Trump is not the answer to all answers. He's not a Christian. He's surrounded himself with every form of Christian cult you can think of. This country, through the negotiating process with Israel and the Palestinians, has created the West Bank, and the Gaza Strip. That's dividing God's land, which is not theirs to divide. This country has already taken its stand. It has divided the land of God. It's already done. We're going to be torn apart. You can see it right now. That's when you have all these ethnic groups getting together, people trying to force them all to fit together, and then poof, it blows up. Well, worldwide, it's going to blow up. The Antichrist is not an idiot. God is putting him in the position of power for a specific reason, to bring the Jews into the fold of the believers. It must happen. So now I'm telling you all this, and in urgency I'm telling you this because we are in the urgent times. Get the gospel out. Contend for the faith. Don't pick up your guns. Don't pick up your knives. Don't kill nobody. Mark out the cults. Call them cults. Tell them to get out of there. Give them the real gospel. Do whatever you can to get them out. But in the end, you just may have to dust off your shoes and walk away. But I can guarantee you, the version of Jesus you're talking about, he exists, but you're not taking into the full account of the full Jesus. He is a God of war. He is going to kill billions. You better rectify yourself to that, because if you don't, you're not believing in the Jesus of Scriptures, which is the point to begin with. I do rail against them. They are a known cult. They are bringing another gospel. They stand in condemnation for doing that. I'm telling them that. You are condemned for bringing this false version of Jesus, Mormonism, a created being, brother to Lucifer, a man that became a god, and God the Father was once a man that became a god. For standing against that, you're pointing the finger at me. You don't even know where we're at, prophetically speaking. If you did, you would get on your horse and run through the town, gallop through the town, screaming the gospel. But don't forget, contend for the faith. That's also there. That means you get in the face of a person that's a cult, and you sit there and you tell them, you look them in the eye and tell them, you are in a cult. This is where, at this point in the Scriptures, 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 you contradict all of this. And then you call your book the most holy book, the most correct book, with no evidence. You tell them that. Because if you don't tell them, okay, these are the end times, it's getting ready to happen, the rapture's here, they're not going to believe any of that. And they're not going to go in the rapture. They will be left behind to face the wrath of the Lamb. Hello, wrath of the Lamb. Wrath. Jesus whipped those moneylenders out of the temple. Do you get that? It is time to get serious. It is time to crack your book open and start reading it verse by verse, chapter by chapter, and book by book, and studying it contextually, instead of saying, I dwelled upon it and I prayed about it. Because without actually getting the Scriptures, that's absolutely meaningless. That's how you become a Mormon. You read the Book of Mormon and then you pray about it and get a warm, tingly feeling, all the while ignoring the Scriptures. I'm telling you, you don't want to be in that group. You do not want to be in that group. All right, bye.